Welcome to another episode of The Macro Lens. Quick question, who saves life? You're probably imagining a doctor, a white coat, a diagnosis, a surgery, a prescription, someone who looked you in the eye and made you better. And doctors absolutely do save lives, every day. But here's a strange thought. What if the person who saved the most lives never met a patient? What if they never attended medical school, never wore a stethoscope, never wrote a prescription? Instead, they designed a pipe, or a machine, or a seatbelt, or a process that quietly changed the lives of millions. Because when historians look back at why humans live so much longer today, the answer turns out to be far bigger than medicine alone. And it begins with a number. At the start of the 20th century, the average human being lived just over 30 years. Today, global life expectancy is more than 70, more than double. And that raises an uncomfortable question. Most of the medicines we associate with modern healthcare didn't exist yet. Penicillin wasn't mass-produced until the 1940s. Many vaccines arrived much later. So what was saving lives before modern medicine arrived? The answer wasn't a drug, it was infrastructure. And nowhere illustrates that better than London. The year is 1854. Cholera is tearing through the city. Thousands are dying. Most people believe disease spreads through foul-smelling air. One doctor disagrees. His name is John Snow. He suspects the real culprit is contaminated water. But convincing people is one thing. Fixing the problem is another. That task eventually falls to an engineer named Joseph Bazalgette. Now here's the fascinating part. Bazalgette didn't fully agree with Snow's theory. He still believed bad air played a role. But he knew London's sewage problem was catastrophic. So he built something unprecedented. Hundreds of miles of underground sewers, one of the largest engineering projects of its time. And when it was finished, cholera disappeared from London, not gradually, permanently. Bazalgette may have misunderstood the cause, but he solved the problem anyway. And that's one of the peculiar strengths of engineering. Sometimes you don't need perfect theory, you need a system that works. And London wasn't unique. Decades later, researchers studying American cities made a remarkable discovery. When cities introduced clean water systems, filtration, chlorination, basic sanitation, death rates collapsed. Infant mortality fell dramatically. Long before antibiotics, long before many modern medical treatments. A simple idea changed everything. Stop disease before it reaches people. Because treating illness saves lives, but preventing illness changes history. And that pattern appears again and again. Take food. For most of human history, famine was a recurring feature of life. Entire societies lived one bad harvest away from disaster. Then came a scientist named Norman Borlaug. He developed new wheat varieties that produced dramatically higher yields and resisted disease. The world would later call it the Green Revolution. The numbers are almost difficult to comprehend. Many estimates credit Borlaug's work with helping save around 1 billion lives from hunger. 1 billion. Not through surgery, not through medicine, but by redesigning the way food was produced. And even that story depends on engineering. Because discovering a better crop is one thing, producing enough fertilizer to feed billions is another. The Haber-Bosch process made that possible. A scientific breakthrough transformed into a global industrial system. Today, roughly half the world's food production depends on synthetic fertilizer, which means billions of people are alive because someone figured out how to turn nitrogen from the atmosphere into something crops could use. Again, the pattern repeats. Most life-saving technologies don't look dramatic. Consider the seatbelt. No headlines, no Nobel Prize, no television dramas built around it. Just a strip of woven fabric stretched across your chest. Yet since the mid-1970s, seatbelts have saved hundreds of thousands of lives in the United States alone. Add airbags, crumple zones, and modern vehicle design, and countless people simply walk away from crashes that once would have been fatal. Nobody remembers the engineer who designed the system, because the greatest engineering successes are often invisible. The disaster never happens, the tragedy never appears, the life continues. And nowhere is that more obvious than inside modern hospitals themselves. Think about a doctor diagnosing a patient. How much of modern medicine depends on seeing what the human eye cannot? Tumors, bleeding, broken bones, internal injuries. That capability didn't emerge from medicine alone. In the 1960s, an engineer named Godfrey Hounsfield had an unusual idea. What if computers could reconstruct images from X-rays and allow doctors to see inside the body without surgery? The result became the CT scanner, one of the most important diagnostic tools ever invented. In 1979, Hounsfield received the Nobel Prize in Medicine, a remarkable achievement for someone who never attended medical school. Doctors gained a new way to see because an engineer built the eyes. The same story appears in laboratory testing. After witnessing the devastation of World War II, an engineer named Wallace Coulter began thinking about a frightening possibility. What if doctors suddenly needed to analyze enormous numbers of blood samples? Human beings couldn't do it fast enough. Machines could. So he developed a method to rapidly count blood cells. Today, versions of that technology perform one of the most common medical tests on Earth, millions of times, every day. Modern diagnosis isn't simply a doctor's judgment. It's often a partnership between human expertise and engineered tools, which brings us to an important objection. Because at this point, it may sound like engineers are winning the argument, but medicine has its own astonishing achievements. Consider vaccines. According to estimates published in The Lancet, vaccination programs have saved more than 100 million lives over the past half-century alone. One intervention, hundreds of millions of lives. Numbers so large they are difficult to visualize. So perhaps doctors win after all. Except there is a problem with framing the question that way. A vaccine doesn't save a life sitting inside a laboratory. It has to be manufactured, stored, transported, protected from temperature changes, delivered across thousands of miles, injected safely into a patient. Every step depends on systems, factories, cold chains, packaging, equipment, infrastructure. Engineering doesn't replace medicine. It enables medicine. And to be fair, even some of the statistics we've discussed remain debated. Not every researcher agrees on exactly how much credit sanitation deserves. Some studies reach different conclusions. Reasonable people disagree, and that's worth acknowledging, because history is complicated. But one thing is difficult to dispute. Modern civilization didn't become healthier because of a single profession. It happened because multiple professions solve different parts of the same problem. Doctors fight disease. Scientists discover new knowledge. Engineers build the systems that allow those discoveries to reach society. So who saved more lives, doctors or engineers? Maybe that's the wrong question. A doctor reads the scan. An engineer built the machine that produced it. A doctor treats the patient. An engineer built the clean water system that prevented thousands of patients from arriving in the first place. One works at the point of crisis. The other works upstream. One is visible. The other is usually invisible. Until something breaks. Until the lights go out. Until the bridge fails. Until the pipe bursts. Until the machine stops working. And suddenly, everyone remembers the people who built the world they were standing on.